When launching a brand new event that I'm calling the Authentic Interview, who do you call? It's Peter Larsen. Welcome to an Authentic Interview. I'll have to admit that Peter Larsen was a strategic selection for my very first Authentic Interview. I know he's well connected, he's got a great network, and I knew that he would fill the house, which is exactly what he did. We had about 50 people in the room for this very first event that I called the Authentic Interview. It was really an experiment trying to find out if this is something that people would even be interested in and would want to come to. The purpose of the Authentic Interviews is to learn from stories of prominent business leaders, what they've done in their leadership development throughout their career. Peter did not know the questions that I was going to ask ahead of time. Let me share with you some of the topics that were covered during the interview, and I'm going to just read these. Peter's path to his career in sales. What do people not know about sales, and what are some of the biggest challenges and biggest mistakes that salespeople make? Peter Larsen brand. If you know Peter, you know it's a unique brand. I also ask if Peter ever has a bad day. What percent of closed client business is generated from all of the networking efforts that Peter does? I asked Peter about the band that he's in. I asked Peter about the importance of taking time off. What does energy mean for Peter? What books have had the biggest impact? What would you say to in a letter that Peter would write to his 17-year-old self? How does Peter overcome not being able to talk to people? How does Peter remain constantly positive? And Peter really shares a little bit about his morning routine. I invite you to come back at the end of this video where I will share some of the key takeaways that I took.
This is our first question, okay? I just celebrated actually my 26th wedding anniversary, but I'm always looking, I'm trying to find out what is the secret to 34 years of marriage?
Wow, what a great opening question. Well, and you know, one neat thing about today, I have not rehearsed any answer to any question that I'm going to give to you. I do not know. I know a couple of the questions that Chris is going to ask, but this is truly authentic because I'm going to have to think on the cuff for just about all of them. So, the secret of a long marriage, I think you may have heard it before, but for me, it's allowing, like my wife, who I'm looking at, I allow her to be different from me. I allow her, if she wants to be an introvert, she does not have to be an extrovert to get my approval. I allow her to do that which she wants to, and she allows me to be kind of the strange person that I am. She's you'll love Cindy, she's level, she's calm, she's a thinker, she's a planner, she's the strength behind someone like me who may not be as much of a planner. So if I could just put it in one word, I would say allowing.
That's really good. I've seen lots of other marriages for a long time. Right, but you're right. I think that has a lot to do with successful marriages, giving yourself room to be yourself.
Both, yeah.
So, okay, good. All right, so you've been in Richmond for 30 years.
Yes.
Right? You've had a sales career that started about 25 years ago. You've been in office technology specifically for about 21 years, right? You've been with Cobb Technologies for almost now 10 years. So tell us a little bit about the path to your career in sales.
Oh, that's a good one. I was not always what you see today. Sales was something when I first met my wife at Bridgewater College. Who's heard of Bridgewater College? Anybody in the room? Okay, good.
Good.
So I was a little baby freshman there, and I didn't have any direction. But the only direction I had was I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Wow.
Why, you may ask, Tom? So that I could be alone, truthfully. So that I could work on a ship, study plankton, do reports, not talk to anybody, and just be by myself and do my work without having to work with people. This is true. So time evolved And changes happen, which will take quite a while to explain all of those.
Right.
But there has been just a change in my thinking, my worldview that causes me to look at everybody the same. So professional sales is really a relationship building thing for me. So it's looking out at a crowd like this and knowing that I am exactly the same as all of you. And you are exactly the same as you and you. We all are, if you strip away the skin that we live in. So I've begun to look at all people as the same. Nobody is better than someone else, nor is anyone less than someone else. So if you have that kind of activity in your mind and you focus on love and loving people first, the fear of sales at this point is just about non-existent. Fear of most anything is about non-existent because there's no competition. I'm not better than Mike. I'm not better than Jennifer. I'm not worse than Robin. We're the same.
Can you tell us just a little bit more about that loving people thing? Because I think I've heard that before, and I think some people get a little confused about what does that really mean?
Yeah. I got it from a book by Og Mandino called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Who's read that book? All right. That book saved me in the summer of 1982 when I sold books and things door to door for a company called the Southwestern Company. Anyone ever heard of the South? My goodness, Joe. So that book was my daily reading. It had chapters. It's a little short book. And one of the chapters was, I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will greet this day with love in my heart. And I read it in the morning, first thing. I read it at noon, and I read it in the evening. The same chapter, which was only about 2 pages long, for like a week straight. And it got into my spirit. I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will look on all things with love, and I will be born again. I will love the ugly for their, really, I forget all the words, but I will love the beautiful. I will love the ugly. I will love all things. And so by focusing on love and loving people, accepting everybody the way that they are, then the fear of sales, again, goes away. And it's replaced with love.
That's good. Along that same lines, talking about sales, because I think a lot of us here are in sales. And if you're not in sales, you're probably in sales, right? We're all selling
Everybody
something,
is
right? What do people not know about sales? And what maybe you see as maybe the biggest mistake that a lot of people who are in sales actually do?
Well, probably that sales is what you're out to get versus what you're out to give. That's probably the biggest. I'm sitting in front of a sales trainer at this very moment, so
Right.
Again, this is completely off the cuff, Robin. So if I was out to get, some people think of sales as I want to get more money. I want to get that sale. But if you're out to give, I look at it, I'm out to give, and I'm really out to give an experience. People who do business with me, it is an experience that they have, that I give to people, an experience. And that's what I think people want, is an experience, not a transaction. So that's the difference. I'm looking at what I want to give versus what I want to get.
That's good. That's a good answer. So I got to tell this very quick little story. The first time you and I met, I think we're actually at an Entrepreneur event. You were talking to a group of people that I all knew. And I was talking to a group of people that I knew, and you knew them as well, but we didn't actually know each other. We really knew each other existed, but that's really about it. Yeah. And this wasn't really all that long ago, but we connected there and we said, hey, we got to get together and have a one-on-one, which of course we did, and which was fantastic. One of the best one-on-ones I think I've ever had. I actually wrote a LinkedIn article about it specifically. I don't know if you know that or not, but that article is about you.
Thank you.
But before meeting with you, I should also say it was interesting. We did do when I looked up LinkedIn, and we had 88 shared connections on LinkedIn. These are the highest shared connections before actually connecting to Peter that I've ever had. And I only accept invitations of people that I've actually had a conversation with. So it's not like I just accept everybody. But anyway, as I was getting ready to meet with you, I was just sharing with my wife that I was meeting with you at Cobb Technologies, and What she said to me is, when you go meet with him, make sure you ask him, why the heck are your commercials so bad? And I thought, well, that's kind of rude, because I actually don't listen to the radio. I did not know about these commercials. But Peter, tell us, why are Cobb commercials so bad?
Because I'm not on the radio.
Good answer. Okay.
I don't know why.
We may let you skirt
They
that
are
one.
authentic. They are authentic. They are authentic. That's funny.
That's funny. They do. A couple months ago, I did turn on the radio and I actually did hear one of the commercials. I'm like, now I get it. So that's good. So I got to ask you this. I mean, look at you, Peter. Look at you any day. And this does not happen by accident. Tell us about the Peter Larsen brand.
Oh, gosh. Oh, jeez. Okay. The brand. All right, so you all know that I wear specific clothing. And now today, many of you have not seen this. Now, what color is this?
Buttercup.
It's many different colors, isn't it? But I've never worn it before. But part of the brand, I believe in dressing for that which I want to be in the public eye. So I wear ties. A lot of people don't. But each of my ties, and many of them are Peter Blair, right there, because she works with Peter Blair. And each of my ties have a message. And so if you can't see from where you are, these are hippopotami. It's a good word that my 2 grown married sons know about. Hippopotami, not hippopotamuses. They're lurking below the surface. And so I use my ties in business at networking events. They all have a different message. In your business, are there expenses that are lurking below the surface that you just don't know about? And in my world, toner and service and leases on the copiers and printers, are they lurking below the surface? I can help to uncover and improve those. That sounds a little corny, I know. But I'm telling you, when you're that's part of the brand, is the tie having a message. That's the physical. Do you want to talk about the non-physical part of the brand?
Absolutely. That's part of you.
I like talking about non-physical as well. You all picked that up, I'm sure, from my earlier comment, because I see the world in just a more, it's like we peel back the envelope so I can see a lot more. So part of the brand of the non-physical me is, it's sort of back what I said, creating an experience. If you're going to show up at an event, show up in your most authentic self. And that's something that I choose to do. And so I'm really mindful about my face. Some people, you don't see me frown a lot. The reason I don't frown a lot, I do have feelings, and I do sometimes feel sad, but I'm not gonna frown in front of you for the purpose. This is just my brand. Some people will disagree with this, and that's okay. I don't want my things that I'm going through to affect you, and so I choose not to, have a facial expression that would cause you to feel sympathy, because I'm not really looking for sympathy. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for people to help me and to save me and lift me up. I appreciate all that, but I'm not in that place that I need all this sympathy. And neither of you. I mean, if you really think about yourself, you're a lot more than you think you are.
So do you have a bad day? I mean, like ever? Do you ever have a bad day? That's a loaded question.
And I knew you were going to ask that one, because a lot of people do. I can't think of an entire day, from morning till night, where I'm completely in a funk. I cannot get out of this negative, incredible, and I can't think of an entire day. And my wife is sitting right in front of me, and she knows that I do have bad hours, and I do feel discouraged. When you're in sales, life is kind of up and down. If I don't have a salary, to make things all level, that's okay. It's a life of faith also. So when things are going great, I'm a little bit higher energy. When sales are low, in fact, right now I didn't have a very good month in July. Right now, I actually did not make what I usually make, far less. Okay, I just told you all that. but I'm not showing that to you. I mean, I've worked it within myself to know that I'm right now discouraged in a way at this, sitting here looking at you. But in July, it was not a good month, okay? But I'm not dwelling on that and holding on to that to try to fix July, because it's the 31st and I can't fix it. But I'm going to focus on August, where I have some control to turn it around.
That's really good. I'm gonna write that one down for me. So my August is gonna be amazing. I know it.
Yeah.
Good. So Peter, you are involved in a lot of things. I mean, you know he is, right? I mean, you're involved in nonprofits. You're in a car club. You go to networking events. You're actually officially involved in networking groups. How do you do it all? I want to follow that up a little bit with. We actually did get. This is a submitted question that someone asked. They said. To follow that up, what % of your closed client business is generated from your networking speaking efforts?
Ooh, that was a good question, you smart person out there, wherever you are. Networking, for me, creates top of mind, and that's the reason why I do it. If you're, and those of you who have been in Richmond a long time, if you're top of mind, if somebody, I'll pick on my friend Scott Golightly. If you need a business attorney, all of a sudden you need an attorney. If you saw Scott at an event, or you saw something he did online, a video, or he was speaking in front of, suddenly, business attorney, oh yeah, Scott, because top of mind is so powerful in Richmond. So that's one reason why I go to 3 to 6 networking events a week, every week, 3 to 6. And I still find time to be home. I'm not getting home at 10 o'clock at night. I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Sleep is very important. So how do I do it? Sleep is a very big thing. I've got to get 7 hours. So some of you out here getting 4 hours of sleep, beware. That can really catch up to you. It's not good for your health. And then eating and things that I eat. I know one person in the crowd is on a plant-based diet in this room, and I admire that person. I'm not there yet, but I am on I don't have a lot of carbs, and I'm mindful of what I eat. That is so important, to be mindful, not just to blindly, I don't watch TV and not look at what I'm eating. I've done that before in years past. I'm just having ice cream watching TV. But I'm not mindfully thinking about that ice cream. Okay, and that has caught up before. It's not catching up anymore. So I have control.
That's good. So one more about your brand, something you did not talk about is music. And you have a rock band, I understand? Is that true?
Well, now. I have a son in the group who
longer.
knows all about that. It's starting to get regular by the moment. No, I play guitar. I have played guitar for a lot of years. I have led worship bands in churches. Okay, so I play guitar and I sing. I've led bands in non-denominational churches with my wife, who's a wonderful singer, by the way. Cindy is, just ask her to sing, and I'm sure she will. Not.
Not today.
Not. But anyway, I love singing. I love the energy that music produces. I mean, music is powerful energy, isn't it? Some of you in the back know. Music, singing, even the physical part of when you, and maybe y'all don't know, something called reflexology. Who's heard of reflexology? Okay, so that's the points of your body sending messages to your brain. You can feel a lot better. The ends of your fingers are points that affect how you think and your headaches and so forth. And by playing guitar, the pressure put on the finger ends sends a message. And I don't have headaches hardly ever. And playing guitar actually relieves of that in just a small way. So singing is part of the brand. It's something that I want to develop more. Integrating music into a business presentation is something I want to develop more. I don't have a clear path on that, but it's something I want to develop. It's something I'm intending. And the power of intention is one of the most powerful of powers.
Good. So let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about taking time off, or we had this conversation about recreation.
Yes, recreation. My favorite things. Recreation. The word recreation, if you break it apart, means recreation. Creating again. So I enjoy recreation. On the weekends, I'm not networking on Saturdays and Sundays. I love being around my son's wife, the grandkids, and I have fun, and I have recreation, particularly on Saturday mornings. That's like my most coveted time. Don't ask me to do anything Saturday morning unless it involves playing 9 holes of golf with Lee Crenshaw at Windy Hill. It's not the only thing I'll do, because that's recreating. Saturday mornings I drive around alone, and my wife knows I have mental, just draining the week away and the pressures, and I spend time alone on Saturday mornings. I don't like to talk to anybody, particularly on Saturday mornings. That's the recreation part of recreation.
So, kind of tied to that a little bit, what does energy mean to Peter Larsen?
My favorite topic with Ron Johnson over here is my energy coach. Yes, I hired Ron Johnson. Raise your hand, Ron, so people know who you are. Thank you. Ron Johnson, about 4 years ago, he and I met, and so everything is energy. I've studied the law of attraction. I've watched The Secret. I watched The Secret over and over again. If you haven't heard of that movie, it's wonderful, it's fabulous. And it taught me that everything is energy. And so I have learned ways to channel my energy. You all know the same thing. I don't know more than you know. You just may not be aware of how much you know. So energy, everything is energy. This that I hold, the glass, this, the air, the table, all made of the same thing. So I look at all of you. I said earlier, you're all the same in my eyes. All exactly the same, because you're made of energy. Strip that shell you live in off, and we all are energy, and we're all the same, so there's no fear.
So I've heard you talk about this thing called building channels. What does that mean?
Building channels.
Yeah.
I don't remember that conversation.
Okay. Well, we're being authentic here, so that may not be a question we need to be asking today.
Building channels. I'm trying to remember what that would be about. Channels. I don't know.
Let's sort of shift a little bit then.
Yeah.
What book maybe has had the most significant impact on you, and why is that?
Probably The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, because I still read it today. A few other books that uplift me, books that are stories that are uplifting about how somebody overcame real problems in their life or overcame fears, as I have in some degree, and went to a higher place. Those sort of stories about that kind of person, in personal or in business, that's what I choose to focus on. And that's really all that it's about, is what we focus on. I have a phrase that I've never revealed in public before, but I only think about what I want to have happen. Say it again, for Ron taught me. I only think about what I want to have happen. So if my focus is on what I want to have happen, that's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I attract into my life.
That's good. That's good. So here's a question that came in from the audience ahead of time, and this is exactly what they asked. Peter, what would you say in a letter to the 17-year-old Peter Larsen? What advice would you give?
Boy, a lot of smart people in this crowd. The 17-year-old Peter Larsen. Wow, when I was 17, that was about the darkest part of my life. At 17, I was a junior, almost senior in high school, and I really could not speak in public. I was really shy. I was involved, my only sport in high school was springboard diving. How many of you all know a lot of springboard divers? That's what I did, and I did well. But I wasn't leading anybody, and it's a very quiet sport. It's not a team sport. It's individualistic. Individual. I am walking on the board and up and bounce and doing things and hopefully nailing the entry or hitting the board. There's a lot of risk involved with springboard diving. So that was, as the 17-year-old, I would say to that person, you are more than you think you are. That's what I would say to I wish somebody had, but I had a dad. Dad's passed away, but one thing Dad would say that still resonates and has for a long time is if you set your mind to anything, you can do it. And that, since at 17, he did say that, and that helped. But I wish I could tell that 17-year-old, you are more than you think that you are. Believe in yourself. Don't demean yourself. Don't cut yourself down. Don't say, I'm a failure. Don't say, I can never talk in front of people. I said all that when I was 17, and I could not talk in front of people. Interesting how that works.
How'd you overcome that?
Well, part of it, probably selling books door to door. That summer,
That'll do it.
That summer I was 20. I was engaged to Cindy, and a lot of responsibility happens when you're getting married. You know, that's one thing you sort of can't. You can't. I knew I was going to be responsible for her and with her, and I knew I couldn't stay put. I couldn't stay weak because she needed me to be strong. And you husbands out there, your wife needs you to be strong, and you wives, your husband needs you to be strong. So I knew that she needed me to be strong. So I couldn't stay in my shell and be an oceanographer, marine biologist, and not talk to anybody because I was getting married. So then that book, door to door, I met 3,000 people in 12 weeks in Terre Haute, Indiana, in one summer. I could almost write a book about those 12 weeks. The things that I've seen. I ran into criminals, drug dealers. There's so many things that I saw, and so much fear in that. It's probably another question, another time. But there's a whole lot that I can tell about those 12 weeks that I survived.
Great. I got one more question here from the audience we got ahead of time. Really, it's about a little bit more about your mindset. Do you do anything in particular to remain consistently positive? Because you are very consistently positive.
Yes.
What is it that makes it consistent for you?
I believe in the power of intention. Every day, this is my morning routine. 7 days a week, whether I feel good or feel bad. Lay in bed, I wake up, first thing I say thank you. First thing, I thank God. Thank you for this day. And as I come into the conscious realm of this conscious realm, I just say thank you. That's before anything. And then, before I get out of bed, I always surrender everything that's going to happen this day over to God. I surrender everything. Before the thoughts come, before all the things come that I didn't do yesterday, or that I need to do today, or regrets, or fears, before all that comes, we all have this little teeny bit of time in the morning. It's teeny. Use it. Use that time. It's a gift. So I use it to surrender, and then it takes the pressure off of me because I've surrendered everything. Doesn't mean I don't participate, but the surrendering helps a lot. And then as I get out of the bed, I'm in a better state of mind because I don't have to be everything. I have a whole system of support.
All right, so I'm going to move to what I want to call like a lightning round of questions. But before doing that, is there anything else that you want to make sure that this audience knows about Peter Larsen that we've not specifically covered?
Man, that's a lot so far, folks. No, I can't think of anything else.
Okay, great. All right, so here's a lightning round. What book are you reading right now?
It's called The Vortex.
Vortex.
Called The Vortex, and it is it's all about the law of attraction. Just getting into the vortex of intending and creating. It's a fascinating book.
Good. What's the best advice that you have ever received?
Best advice that I've ever received. Wow. It probably is just going back to that advising. Well, yeah, it probably was. Yeah, coming back. I was married. I was newly married. I quit college to get married. I had no direction, and there were certain men, trusted advisors, and always some of you men in the room, even though you're a little bit older than 17 or whatever, 20, get some trusted advisors in your life. I have them still today. So one of them gave me advice saying, you're not going to be an oceanographer and get married to Cindy, because there's no ocean near Bridgewater, Virginia. And Cindy and I didn't want to move to Virginia Beach, where there was an ocean. And apply to another college. JMU would be preferable, which I didn't get in when I was applying as a freshman, by the way. Grades weren't good enough. And I said, I'm going to do that. And he held me accountable. And I decided I was going to go into management information systems in 1984, when it was, some of you in the room know that there weren't even PCs back then. But it was exciting, and so I decided I was going to do that. And I applied to JMU, got in, all my credits transferred, and so I came in 84 as a junior and graduated in 86 with a degree in management information systems.
Wow, that's great. Let's flip that question a little bit. What's the best advice you've actually given to somebody else?
Man, these are tough. Best advice that I've ever... See, that's kind of an interesting question. I'm not one who sprays advice. I'm actually really careful about that. Some people don't want advice. So some people welcome advice. If I sense that somebody is wanting advice, then I will give it to them. But many people that I've talked to, they get sprayed on. That's the best analogy. People love to give you advice. You should do this. You really shouldn't do that. You should tell your kids to do that. How many you shoulds do you hear every day?
Yeah.
You need to, and you should. I don't like those words. I don't like telling my sons, you need to, or my wife, you should. I don't say that around the house. I don't. Because how do I know your situation?
Right.
You should, you need to. So consequently, I give very little advice unless it is solicited. If you want advice, I can't think of anything in particular, but I do want to get that point across that I don't spray out advice telling you what you should do, because I don't know your true situation.
Yeah, if there's anything worth writing down, that might be one there, because you're absolutely right. It's very difficult to receive advice when you've not even asked for it, right? Yeah. So you're not even prepared or ready to receive advice. But if I'm going to you and say, Peter, I need advice on X, Y, Z, what would you recommend that I do?
Yeah,
that's a way of receiving it.
I can work with that.
Right. Okay, good. What's your coolest bucket list item?
Wow. Bucket list item. I actually don't have a bucket list. I don't have one. I don't think about, well, we want to do this and this and this. My wife sitting there knows I talk about living in the present. And that helps me to think about now. So we do plan things. So many things have been fulfilled. I can't think of anywhere that I really, really, really want to go that I haven't been. I can't think of anything right now that I really want to do. I mean, it's sort of a bucket list, this whole singing and bringing music into business presentations. That's a bucket that's like a personal one. It's not a place to go, but it's a thing to do. I really want to find a way to do that. And I'm attracting somebody somewhere to help me with that. I guess that would be a bucket list.
Okay, good. One more question here. So I have this thing, I'm addicted to quotes. I've been collecting quotes for almost 30 years. Do you have a quote that has really significantly impacted you?
Just thought of one. I haven't thought about this one in a long time. It's all about how you show up in public. I say it right. Your walk talks, and your talk talks. But your walk talks much more than your talk talks.
Now say that 5 times fast.
Your walk talks, and your talk talks, but your walk talks much more than your talk talks.
Awesome. Well, I grabbed as much as I could of that one.
I'll read it later if you need
Yeah, that's really good. So I'd like to just thank you, Peter, for joining us here today.
Good, is it over already?
Well, almost over. We got a few more things coming up. I really enjoyed this conversation. You really have been transparent and been very open with your answers here. So if you just give a quick round of applause for Peter.
What did you think of that authentic interview with Peter Larsen? Let me share with you some of the key takeaways that I wrote down during the interview. Peter's original plan to be alone in his career, I thought that was very interesting, and how many times in our careers they don't necessarily go exactly the way we intend them and plan them to be. Sharing the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, I think it was probably a foundational book. Probably a lot of people should read. The importance of creating an experience for others, and really that mindset of when interacting with other people, how it's part of your job to help create an experience for them. Not dwelling when you have a bad month, particularly in sales. We can sometimes dwell on that and have that bring us down, but rather focus on what can be done now to ensure that next month is successful. Becoming top of mind. How do you make yourself top of mind when someone is considering engaging with you in business? Talks about the importance of sleep in success. That's one that I certainly attribute to part of my success is I just ensure that I get a full night's sleep every single night, and Peter does too. Performing music and how that has eliminated headaches. I know for me, music has been a very important part of my life, and I appreciate hearing that it's helped him even in a healthy way. Recreation, this is something I know Stephen Covey has talked about, how recreation is really a combination of recreation. It's important to take that time so you can recreate yourself. Only think about what I want to have happen rather than thinking about what I don't want to happen. You are more than you think you are. I think that is true of just about everybody. We have our own limiting beliefs. We really are our own worst enemies in this area, and we really are way more than we think that we are. If you set your mind to do anything, you can do it. You can truly accomplish. Even let's look back at many years ago. Some of the things that you're doing now, I know I think about this, I would have never known that I would be doing many of the things I'm doing now. For one, having this YouTube channel. The value of surrendering your day as part of a daily routine and really allowing the day to happen and not trying to control so much of it. Find and listen to trusted advisors, how important it is to find people who you do trust and you trust in their opinion. Find those people and then listen to the advice that they're giving you. Sometimes people don't want your advice. Really only give advice to people who ask for your advice. One of the things that I do whenever I see someone speak is I'm constantly making notes about things that they did really well and maybe some opportunities they might improve. And lastly, the very last one is, many people know, I am a collector of quotes, so I asked Peter about his favorite quote. And of course, his favorite quote is, "Your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks much more than your talk talks." And it really just speaks to your character and how you conduct yourself. And I think it really connects to this whole thing I talk about, being authentic in your leadership, how people will want to follow you because of the way you conduct yourself and your character. I'd love to know what you think. Please put comments below. I'd love to know what you thought of today's interview. What were your big takeaways? And until next time, I look forward to seeing you at the next Authentic Interview.